Most of us grew up believing a very simple rule about life and money. Work hard, be reliable, show up every day, do what you're told, and over time things will work out. That belief wasn't naive. For a long time it was actually true. If you put in the effort, learned a skill, and stayed consistent, you could expect progress. Maybe not luxury, but stability. A home. A future that felt predictable. But today, something feels deeply wrong. People are working longer hours than ever before. They're more educated, more productive, more connected. They answer emails at night, take calls on weekends, and squeeze work into every corner of their lives. And yet, a huge number of them feel like they're barely moving forward. Bills are paid, but there's no breathing room. Savings exist, but they don't feel meaningful. Raises come, but life somehow gets more expensive at the same time. So the question isn't, why aren't people working hard enough? The real question is, why doesn't working harder lead to wealth anymore? Let's start by clearing up something important. Hard work did not stop mattering. Effort still counts. Skills still matter. Reliability still matters. What changed is what effort is connected to. Working harder used to plug directly into progress. Today, for many people, it plugs into a treadmill. You're moving, you're sweating, you're exhausted, but the scenery doesn't change. Here's something that sounds shocking until you actually look at the data. American workers are more productive today than at any point in history. We produce more per hour than previous generations ever did. We automate tasks they couldn't. We multitask constantly. We communicate instantly. We work faster, longer, and more efficiently. And yet, when you adjust wages for inflation, real pay for most workers has barely moved in decades. That's the disconnect. Productivity went up. Pay did not. For much of the 20th century, productivity and wages rose together. When workers produced more value, workers captured more of that value. That relationship was the foundation of the middle class. And then quietly that relationship broke. Not overnight, not with an announcement. It just drifted apart. When productivity increases, value is created. That part hasn't changed. The real question is who captures that value. In today's system, a growing share of it flows upward, to asset owners, to shareholders, to executives, to institutions, not necessarily to the people doing the work. So when you work harder, faster, and longer, you are often creating wealth. It's just not being routed to you. That's not a personal failure, that's a structural one. Now let's layer in inflation because this is where the illusion becomes painful. Imagine you get a 5% raise. That sounds good. It feels like progress. You tell yourself things are finally moving in the right direction. But then rent goes up 8%, groceries jump 10%, insurance premiums rise again, utilities creep higher. Suddenly, your raise didn't make you richer. It made you less poor than you would have been otherwise. This is one of the most demoralizing experiences modern workers face. You did what you were supposed to do, you improved, you earned more, and still, you feel behind. Not because you failed, but because the floor keeps rising faster than your income. This is where hustle culture enters the picture and makes everything worse. Hustle culture tells you the solution is simple. Wake up earlier, work weekends, get a side hustle, grind harder, monetize everything, turn every free moment into productivity. But here's the uncomfortable truth. If effort alone created wealth, the hardest working people in society would be the richest. They're not. Many of them are exhausted, stressed, and stuck. Hustle culture focuses obsessively on input. Wealth is built through leverage. And leverage is rarely explained, especially to ordinary people. Effort scales linearly. You work twice as many hours, you earn roughly twice as much, if that. There are limits. Your time is finite. Your energy is finite. Leverage scales differently. Ownership, equity, assets, systems. These things keep working even when you stop. Most people are taught to sell time. Very few are taught how wealth is actually built. So they optimize effort inside a system that no longer rewards effort proportionally. A good job used to mean something. It meant stability. A home. the ability to plan. Today, many good jobs cover survival and not much else. That's not because workers are lazy or irresponsible. It's because the cost structure of life changed faster than wages. Housing absorbed a massive share of income. Healthcare became unpredictable. Education became debt-driven. Childcare exploded. Working harder helps you tread water. It doesn't guarantee you reach shore. This is why so many people feel stuck. And it's important to say this clearly. People aren't confused because they're bad with money. They're confused because their lived experience contradicts what they were promised. I did everything right. Why is this still so hard? That question creates guilt, shame, and self-blame. And that's convenient for the system. Because if you blame yourself, you don't question the rules. If this is clicking so far, this channel exists for exactly this kind of conversation. No hype, no fake motivation. Just clear explanations of what's actually happening. There will be many more videos like this. At some point, without much public discussion, we move from an economy that rewarded labor to one that rewards ownership. If you own assets, time works for you. If you don't, time works against you. That's the core divide. Hard work still matters, but hard work without ownership caps your upside. When progress stalls, people internalize it. I should be doing more. I should be better at budgeting. I shouldn't feel this stressed. But the math doesn't care about motivation. If wages grow at 3% and costs grow at 6%, effort alone cannot close that gap. That's not pessimism. That's arithmetic. This is where many people expect hacks or quick fixes. That's not what this channel is about. The first step isn't tactics. It's understanding the game you're in. Once you see how value flows where effort is rewarded and where it isn't, you stop blaming yourself for structural problems and start making strategic decisions instead of emotional ones. Working harder isn't useless. It's incomplete. Effort is the foundation. Skills matter. Reliability matters. Consistency matters. But effort today is not the multiplier. Without leverage, effort has a ceiling. That ceiling is what people are hitting over and over again and mistaking it for personal failure. Before we wrap this up, I want to slow things down for a moment and clearly summarize what we learned today. Because this topic isn't just about money, it's about understanding why so many people feel stuck despite doing everything they were told was right. And if this video helped put words to something you've been feeling for a long time, take a second to like the video and subscribe. This channel exists to explain these systems clearly without hype or guilt, and there will be many more videos like this one. Now here's the core takeaway. The problem most people face today is not a lack of effort. It's not laziness. It's not a failure to budget correctly or work hard enough. The problem is that effort alone is no longer connected to progress the way it used to be. For decades, we were taught that if you worked harder, improved your skills, and stayed consistent, you would naturally move forward. That promise quietly broke. We saw that productivity has gone up dramatically. Workers produce more value per hour than ever before. Technology, automation, and efficiency have exploded, but wages, when adjusted for inflation, have barely kept up. That means more value is being created, but it's not being shared evenly. The gap between what people produce and what they earn has grown wider, not smaller. We also talked about inflation, and this is critical. Inflation doesn't feel dramatic day to day, but over time it quietly changes everything. Raises feel good on paper, but when the cost of housing, food, healthcare, and insurance rises faster than income, those raises don't create progress. They just slow down the feeling of falling behind. That's why so many people feel like they're running faster but going nowhere. Another major point was hustle culture. We're constantly told that the solution is more effort. Earlier mornings, later nights, side hustles, grinding harder. But effort scales linearly while wealth is built through leverage. Ownership, assets, systems, and time horizons matter far more than sheer hours worked. When people are taught only to sell their time, they hit a ceiling, and they often mistake that ceiling for personal failure. We also talked about the shift from a labor-rewarding economy to an ownership-rewarding one. If you own assets, time works for you. If you don't, time works against you. That doesn't mean effort is useless. It means effort alone is incomplete. Without leverage, hard work has limits. And most people were never taught this distinction. The most important realization is this: feeling stuck does not mean you're bad with money. It often means you're reacting rationally to a system that changed while the advice stayed the same. Once you understand that, guilt starts to disappear, and clarity takes its place. That clarity doesn't magically fix everything overnight, but it does something powerful. It shifts you from blaming yourself to understanding the structure you're operating in. And that's the first step toward making decisions that actually move the needle. I want to end this video on a calm but honest note. If you've spent years feeling like you should be further along by now, if you've wondered why working harder doesn't seem to translate into security or freedom, if you've ever thought, I did what I was supposed to do, why is this still so difficult? That feeling is not weakness, it's awareness. You're noticing the gap between effort and outcome, and noticing that gap is what allows people to stop running in circles and start thinking long term. This channel isn't about shortcuts. It's not about hype or pretending everyone can get rich overnight. It's about understanding the systems we live in so you can stop fighting invisible forces and start making decisions with intention. In future videos, we'll keep building on this. We'll talk about leverage in practical terms. We'll talk about ownership, time horizons, patience, and why real progress often looks boring at first. And we'll break down financial ideas in a way that's clear, realistic, and grounded in everyday life. If this video gave you clarity or helped you feel less alone in how you think about money, I'd really appreciate it if you liked the video and subscribed. It helps the channel grow, and it tells YouTube to show this kind of content to more people who need it. Thank you genuinely for giving me your time and attention. That's the most valuable thing you can give anyone. I'll see you in the next video.